Good evening, everyone. Special edition. We were obviously live this morning with Pio from the Badoggos on the normal time, but obviously tonight, as you see here on the screen, guys, we have Skarly from On-Chain Heroes, one of the probably hottest games in crypto at the moment, I'd easily say. But obviously one of the hot not tokens, but I suppose it is a token. There's so much to unpack. But the hottest game on Abstract for sure over the past week, obviously because Season 2 went live. There's the PFP that people will recognize you a bit better there now, mate. Thank you so much for joining us. How you going today?
Good. Thanks so much for having me. And sorry, I'm a little bit late. Had some technical difficulties at the beginning, but we're here now.
Excellent, mate. No troubles at all. Craig, how you going tonight, mate? 8 o'clock this evening. It's a bit it's bloody cold, mate. We're both in hoodies.
Yeah, I'm rugged up. Cheers, beers.
Single figures, mate, down your way, or?
Yeah, it is, man. It feels friggin' cold, man. It feels like New Zealand. I shouldn't complain. It's not like that. But no, good evening. Yeah, happy to have Skarly here. Obviously, this is the game that we've been playing a lot, Greeny, and we've been speaking about, obviously, in the Discord and that, trying to theorize how best to navigate it, and a little bit of few frustrating moments, isn't it? I had a good remix go wrong last night where I almost smashed my screen. So, Skarly, you got me by the short and curlies on this game, man.
Let's go. Are you guys just before we kick off? Are you guys Aussies?
Yeah, yes, mate. Sir. Yeah.
Oh, dude, I'm a Kiwi. I'm from New Zealand.
Oh, so yeah, I went to high school in Wellington.
Oh, no way. No, I'm from Auckland.
Oh, yeah. Okay, cool. I lived in Takapuna for a little bit, North Shore.
Oh, dude, yeah, just down the road.
If you name a place there, I've been it, man. So no matter where you say,
let's go.
Great place. Where are you now? You're in Dubai, I'm guessing, or somewhere.
I am in Dubai. I'm doing the typical crypto founder route, and somehow ended up in Dubai. It's 38 degrees here today, I think. A little bit warm, but we manage.
Nice one. Hey, we're going to shout out from Christchurch in New Zealand. Someone's listening, so shout out Christchurch.
Yeah, let's go.
And Rero in my chat says he's in Auckland. So, mate, all the Aussie and New Zealand crew in the crowd. So I'd love to see it.
Yeah, let's go.
Well, I suppose that's cool. Like we always like to start these, obviously taking it right back, running it all the way back to sort of like, what is your crypto story? But I suppose, like, if you're a Kiwi, like, how often have you come to Australia? Like, is that part of, like, do you go home often? Talk to us a little bit about that side of the stuff before we dive more crypto specific.
Yeah, Australia. I went for the first time properly last year, and I went to Melbourne. Mm-hmm. I was chilling out in Melbourne for a bit because I have a friend that lives over there. Have the best coffee in the world.
Yeah.
I went to all the hot spots, Patricia and Market Lane or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, I loved it. Definitely want to go back at some point. New Zealand, same deal. I was born and raised there, so I have a bunch of family, friends, back home. So we're actually looking to head back over to that part of the world. I think the end of this month or early next month, just to see some family and catch up for a bit. But yeah.
No, I love it. New Zealand's like, honestly, I traveled there, 8 years ago now. It's probably like I've ticked off 30 countries in the past year. I traveled last year for my honeymoon. But New Zealand, honestly, would have to be nearly the most stunning, beautiful, picturesque country in the world. Like, I just don't know. Maybe Iceland beats it. But New Zealand's up there for sure.
I'll take it. Yeah, I mean, for sure. 100% agreed there.
Excellent. Well, Craig, mate, I'll let you kick it off tonight. I'll let you hog the mic.
Skarly, I mean, normally when we get devs on here, game devs, I like to start off with a nice get to know you one. So what was your favorite game growing up as a kid? What got you into this sort of thing? What got you juiced on games?
Dude, growing up, I played a bunch of Blizzard games. So, StarCraft. And then I ended up transitioning into like Warcraft and then Dota and then CS:GO, CS 1.6, all of the good ones that would play in the net cafes down over in Auckland.
Yeah, dude. Yeah, I remember Blizzard. Yeah, those are the glory days.
For sure. Yeah, and then I played a bunch of RPGs as well. Got stuck into WoW for a bit. I want to catch up on the latest content, but there's no time. Like, now that I'm a founder, I just don't have time to do anything other than, build, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
So,
we had to wait a couple of weeks or even longer to actually get you in. When we first reached out to Skarly to get him on, and thank you for jumping on. It's probably busy for you now anyway. You obviously head down trying to get ready for season 2, and you were like, "Oh, look, dude, we'll chat definitely, but let's let season 2 kick off." So you were obviously, deep down in your work trying to get things ready. I suppose a few weeks ago or months ago.
Exactly, dude. 100%. It's not that I'm cocky or whatever. I just we were just so deep in like building mode that I just I didn't have even time to spend time with my family. Just needed to get it out the door. And then now that I have some breathing room, I'd love to chat with you guys. I'm super excited to be here, and thanks for your patience.
Nah, welcome, dude.
No, you don't. No, thank you so much. We very much appreciate your time, as we've said. All right, so let's dive in. Yeah, so cool to get a bit of background around the game. We spoke to Dith maybe like 3 weeks ago, and same sort of stuff. Like he obviously comes back from like a childhood of love of gaming. I mean, like, don't get me wrong, I love gaming too. I wish I could get paid to game. Like that would be the secret sauce. Like if you could like be a Fortnite player, be a COD player, whatever it is, right? Be a FIFA player, whatever it is. Like that's where I like to spend my time. And get paid for that. That's the ultimate dream. But here we all are, probably in a better industry, not going to lie, because there's so many lucrative opportunities. So where did you first start in crypto? Did you build? Were you a dev? Were you a trader? Were you an investor? How did you stumble across cryptocurrency?
100%. So I like the first crypto that I bought was back in 2016, 2017, and it was Bitcoin, right?
Yeah.
And it was through some like shady exchange.
Classic.
That was only run in I think Australia, New Zealand, those areas. It was in New Zealand. It was like Kiwi Coin or something like this. And I was buying Bitcoin there. I don't know what happened to it. I can't find my logins anymore, but I don't think it was too much, right?
Yeah.
But then I got into like alts. I was buying VeChain. I was buying Icon, like Neo, like Neo, like was supposed to be like the Chinese Ethereum or something like this.
I haven't thought about those coins.
Yeah.
Oh my god. Yeah. Wow.
Dude, so I was mucking around there. Had some outs, and then it crashed, and I was like, fuck this. I better go back to my studies or work or whatever I was doing at the time. And then I really got stuck into Web3 late 21 during like the NFT bull run. Everyone was like, NFTs are the next thing. I was like, all right, cool. I'll just like check it out. I'll see what's going on over there. And then I ended up buying my first NFT from a project called Wolf Game, which was like a crypto game at the time. It was very big. I paid 0.72 ETH for it. That's probably the most amount of money I've ever spent on something digital. And I was like, this makes sense. I'll give it a go, and if it doesn't work out, whatever, right? And then I ended up buying and selling NFTs here and there. Alien Friends, whatever was hot at the time.
Yeah.
And then got into Web3 as a career when the founder of Wolf Game reached out to me, because he knew I was a dev and I was like making like websites and stuff. And he was like, hey, we need some like, contract work done for like the front end stuff. Do you want to, give it a go? And, I said, yeah, of course. Right. Cause I was super like interested. So I gave it a go. I was good at it. They were happy with my work. So, I ended up joining the team as the first employee, and then stayed there over the next 2.5 years. And yeah, the rest is history, right? I'll pause there if in case you have any questions, and then I can get into like beginnings of On-Chain Heroes and like what happened after Wolf Game.
No, because exactly. Like that's I know like if you were around last cycle, Craig, like Wolf Game, it was like probably like it was it and Axie Infinity, right, as the two big games in crypto, NFT based, sort of RPG and all of that sort of stuff. So I loved it. Like I was always priced out, and like I think back to like even like the meta heroes and all those sorts of things last cycle that were at like 10. Like, oh man,
insane.
It was such a bubble. It was such a bubble when you think back now.
Yeah.
Crazy. So yeah, no, let's touch on Wolf Game, because that was certainly a big highlight for a lot of people last cycle. So obviously I know that there's some big whale and big influencers that were part of Wolf Game, and supposedly, as far as I'm aware, sort of helped guide you with on-chain heroes as well. So talk to us a little bit about what you learnt with Wolf Game, and then what happened in the end, and then how you sort of got inspiration for your own sort of on-chain heroes game.
Yeah, sure. So Wolf Game, it was a beautiful game where everything was on chain. It was, fully risk protocol. It was a very heavy Ponzi, but people were having fun. They were minting, they were selling, they were trading. Wolves were going for like 50 ETH or whatever it was at the time.
Right. Yeah.
And yeah, through that community, there were a lot of big names, right? Gary V, and Marshmallow, the DJ, was in.
Beanie.
Beanie, and probably the most famous person that bought into Wolf Game is Post Malone. So like the artist, yeah, he has a wolf somewhere. I don't think he's ever touched it, right, since then. But we had him. So it was crazy times, and I met Beanie through Wolf Game, and I was chatting with him, and he was like, do you want to do some work for me? I did some like small websites for him, and then after I left Wolf Game, which was 2.5 years, so like 2023 maybe, I don't know, 2023 some point. I ended up doing a stint at a DeFi protocol for a bit, just contracting there for like 6-7 months. And then I thought, at the time, crypto was just so boring. NFTs were completely dead. Crypto gaming was dead. It was just meme coin. Like, it was during meme coin mania, and like it was just casinos, meme coins, and point farming. And I was like, this is so boring. Like, I want to feel like the 2021 craze again.
Yeah.
And I thought I could probably do this. I could probably pull it off. I need, a bit of money to kickstart this venture. So I reached out to Beanie, asked him if he want to, throw some money my way. He accepted, without even asking me what it was, just because I had that prior connection with them.
Yeah.
I asked a few other people, like Seed Phrase. I asked a couple of different people, and they all agreed to punt some money my way to kickstart this. And then I just went heads down building for the next 6 months, because I had quit my job at the time, and I was running really lean. It was just me and an artist that I hired off of Fiverr at the beginning, and then as we grew, I started hiring more people. But yeah, the beginnings were really lean, really small. Nothing like what it is today. And then that's kind of the rest is history, right? We minted out, we did season 1, that was a success. Season 2 is running right now, and that's kind of the TLDR, the 10,000 feet view of what happened with the inception of on-chain heroes.
That's epic. It's so get me, is this right in saying that you met Beanie obviously through Wolf Game, and then you met Seed Phrase as well through Wolf Game, or was that separately as well?
It was all through Wolf Game. These guys were deep into the Wolf Game ecosystem.
Yeah.
And 100%. It was just to like, every person kind of has that one community that they belong to, like their base community, right? Mine was Wolf Game, and that's where I met these guys.
And I think that's just if we take that away, like Craig, like you're one decision away from maybe changing the rest of your life. Like whether it's by meeting new people, whether it's by meeting the right people, whether it's by connecting with someone who can teach you something that you may have never heard of before, or give you advice in a way that you may have not even thought. So I love hearing that, because it gives inspiration to a lot of people out there who are maybe striving for a bigger goal, who are like, oh, look, like Skarly's doing this. Like, I want to be Skarly one day. Or, hey, Greeny and Craig, literally, we got an airdrop today of like $4,000. Like, I want to get to that level. It's like, well, put yourself in the right situations and reach out, throw conversations out, DMs, whatever it is, help out where you can for free. And then often that'll come back and treat you in the right way.
100%. It's, if I can pull it off, anyone can pull it off. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You just put your mind to it.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Well, Craig, you go. I've got some questions lined up, but you go, mate.
Yeah, cool. I wanted to ask, just going off that, just entering into on-chain heroes. Obviously, you found the meme craze boring, and you thought, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna spice up the timeline, which you have done. I wanted to ask you with where is it? I've heard Finn mention that it was sort of you that saved Abstract when it first started. I wasn't around when that was kind of kicking off, and I wanted to ask, what was that like? Now, sort of just take us through that, because I think what he meant by that is there wasn't much happening on chain, and you created the transaction spike, which got a bit of attention. But I suppose my question is, what was your view of that time in Abstract, and what did it feel like for you? Sort of, I mean, hearing that must be pretty cool.
No, those guys, they keep saying that, but it was a joint effort. At the time, so for context, right, Abstract was going through peak FUD. It was at its lowest point, and the reason is Abstract launched. There was not much to do on chain. People were, FUDding the TVL. People were, saying this and that about Abstract, and we minted the day after. So there was an app called Cardex that got hacked for half a mil, I think.
Wow.
And a bunch of people got drained, right? So this is like, it's not the protocol that got drained, it's the users. So if you had interacted with Cardex, your wallet would have been drained of all of the ETH that it had, right? So this happened. It was max FUD. People were like, Abstract got hacked, 2 weeks in or whatever it was. It's a dead chain, right? And then to me, it felt like an opportunity, right? There was nothing going on. People wanted exposure to Abstract. They had capital. They wanted to deploy it, but there was nothing to deploy to. And I was like, this is like probably this is probably the best time to launch. Everyone I talked to was like, delay it, do it in better market conditions, blah blah blah. But I thought that it was the opposite way. When market conditions are good, right? There's so much going on that minting on-chain heroes could have been an opportunity cost. Like, if we're minting now, are you going to buy hype, or are you going to buy mint, some project, right?
Yeah.
So at the time, right, there was nothing going on. It was the perfect time for us to launch. We became the number one. So we 10x out of the gate. We became the number one in terms of volume across every chain, including Ethereum, Solana for NFTs. For a point, and we probably did like, I think 10 mil plus of volume. I don't know what the exact number is. So yeah, that's what really kickstarted activity. People started to take notice of Abstract. Then, hey, you know what? You can make money on Abstract. There's serious size there. Something's happening over there. Let me check it out. And this is, I think, what Finn and Luca and those guys are referring to, that moment. And yeah, that's kind of the background.
Yeah, that's a cool story. I remember, it's funny you tell that story, because that was my first impression of on-chain heroes. The first thing I saw about you guys and almost Abstract was people on the timeline taking P&L or screenshots of their hero, saying how much hero they were making per day. So if you want to get a degen's attention like me, that's a pretty good thing to have on the timeline. So that's funny you say that with that story, because that's exactly how I found you. And it's it's one of the reasons why when Greeny was saying, dude, come across to Abstract, and I was like, and then I saw things like that starting to pop off. That's when I noticed Abstract as well. So it's sort of funny you tell that story, and then that's kind of the thing that kind of got me to notice. I guess I'm the other side of your story. And shout out to Greeny for obviously seeing it before I did. And I wanted to ask, just to go dovetail off that, what you're going to season 1 now with On-Chain Heroes, what was that like? Like, obviously, you're dropping this game, this Ponzi, whatever you want to call it. There's a lot of money at stake. And I didn't play season 1, so I don't know how it even went. I just know season 2. What was that like as a dev? I can assume chaos, but the stress levels must have been through the roof. How did that go, man? The good, the bad, and the ugly. Take us on a quick journey.
Dude, insane, right? I probably slept like 2 hours during launch week,
Wow.
just because it was just so many things can go wrong, and I was I was acutely aware that the first 24 hours to 48 hours of the project, the price action, et cetera, is going to make or break. It's going to set the tone for the rest of the project, right? So I had to make sure that this is it's going to be a banger. And one clever thing that we did was, what when you talk about supply and demand, right? There was obviously a lot of demand, but what if we could amplify that by locking up supply? So what we did was, instead of like minting and then launching the game like 3 weeks later or whatever, we launched the game alongside the mint. So as we were minting, and there was a minimum lockup of 6 hours. As we were minting, people were locking up their NFTs, and there was nothing for sale, right? Good. And people were sidelined, and they wanted to get in, so they were buying for like X amount, and that's something that I think we did well, and it really set the tone for the rest of the game. And how season one went, it was by almost any given metric a resounding success. So we admitted, I think, something like 10 100 mil, 10 mil. I think fuck, I can't remember. We just gave out 5%. All right, it must have been 10 mil. So we admitted 10 mil of the token, right? So 100 mil of the token. So that's 10% of the total supply. 99.6% went back into the game, right? So as people were leveling up, they were getting hooked on like the leveling loop, and like training, and like doing this and that. And they were earning gacha tokens, which were like the prize for season one. And those, opened up into weapons. And if you had played season one, because I'm acutely aware that, heroes have dipped a bit, because of like, value accrue going to the weapons and whatever. But if you had played through season one and you had kept your entire bag, your bag would be bigger now than it was at the end of season one, right? So yeah, super proud of what we've achieved. Learned a lot from it. Even through season two, we're learning a lot, and we're probably going to use this data and learnings to shape what the next phase of the game looks like. But yeah, that's it. It was very stressful, but I think we pulled it off, and I'm very proud of the work that we've done.
And I think it's important that you spend time like building, like, because you don't want to rush it just to get people happy. Like, you want it to work, and you want it to work for the people who are using it and for the business purposes, right? So yeah, kudos to you guys for both of that, for the season one, and then for spending a bit more time readying season two. I want to take it back a little bit further. Why abstract initially? Because obviously the rings, for those that people don't know, are an ETH collection, which, as far as I'm aware, are going to be bridged to abstract sometime in the near future. Was the plan to build on ETH or potentially another layer 2 before abstract came into the conversation, or was it always abstract along? Talk to us a little bit about that.
So when I started on-chain heroes, I kind of figured that I would probably need to launch on an L2, just because of the sheer amount of transactions that you have. If you're paying like $1 each time you're trading in gas, it's no fun, right? And then we were looking at a few different chains. So I was in talks with Base, I was in talks with Blast, I was in talks with most of the major L2s at the time. And what really stood out for abstract was, I was looking at my skill set, trying to figure out what am I missing? Like, what do I need? And I mentioned earlier that I had raised a bit of money, so I wasn't going after grants. I was looking for something, something that could fill my skill set, something that we were missing. And I came to the conclusion that we had the engineering chops to build out anything that we needed. But we were weak in terms of marketing and distribution and go to market and all of this stuff. That's where abstract came in. Luca and Michael and those guys, they're the kings of distribution. Look at what they've done with Pudgy Penguins. I thought that if I go here, and once I had a chat with Beans and Pedro and the team over there, it was a clear winner that these guys were gonna help us succeed. So we committed to Abstract pretty early on. I think we were like the second or third project to fully commit to Abstract. And, we've stuck by them since. So this was like almost a year ago. And the rings are on ETH, not because I was going to build on ETH, but I wanted a on-chain footprint for our earliest and strongest supporters on chain, and simply Abstract didn't exist at the time. It was before mainnet, so I chose Ethereum mainnet.
Makes a lot of sense. I think shout out to Tajia, who's a GTG member. I'm pretty sure he dropped the rings when they were like even before they had minted. He's like, yeah, Greeny, like people should be getting into this. And I like at the time, I think I faded it because I was just like, we were so busy like trading memes or whatever it was. And now I look back and I go, God damn, it could have been a whole different story if I had just listened to him. And he cooked. Like, I mean, yeah, he's been deep in your ecosystem. He was pumped that we got you on the show tonight. So shout out to Gia from our group. Yeah, so I suppose like what are the rings, and are they going to be like right now, if you do own a ring, your hero in the game is kind of got like a glow, let's call it. Are they going to be sort of utility based the factors in this season for rings, or is that more something that you'll build out in the future?
Yeah, so the Genesis rings, right? They were supposed to be a collector's, like a early supporters pass, right? If you look at Trad Gaming, they usually have like supporter packs, $2,000. You get some cosmetics in game, and it shows that you're an early supporter of the game. But I think that the time is nearing where Genesis rings are going to have a larger role in our ecosystem, and for us, right, because the entire game protocol is on Abstract, we need the rings over on Abstract, right? So this is almost a non-negotiable. It's amplified by the fact that AGW doesn't exist on Ethereum. So it's not as simple as using like bridging, not bridging, shadowing or cloning or mirroring or those technologies that various other teams use. I think the cleanest way, and I'm not super looking forward to bridging, because usually it's a little bit confusing and it's a little bit of a mess. But the cleanest way is to bridge. And one thing that's going to happen is, as they bridge, right, I need to figure out, okay, this every move that I take needs to make sense within the wider ecosystem, right? The Genesis rings, the ring bearer chat is some of the in my view, it's the strongest and most valuable community on Abstract. They have the deepest pockets. They have the most spending power. We have whales in there, with $500,000 in on-chain heroes assets. This is the only chat where if you have like 20 heroes, you still feel like poor. You still feel behind, right? But these guys aren't represented well because our Genesis heroes, they're not great PFPs. Genesis rings aren't great PFPs. So okay, I'm gonna bridge them, but I'm gonna also turn them into a PFP. So you'll have both. You'll see your ring and your PFP. Cool. And this is a mind share play for us. So the narrative becomes, okay, this is the first PFP on Abstract worth over an ETH, or it's the most valuable PFP on Abstract. And this really allows people to like have a stronger bond with the community while repping they're a part of the ring bearers on Twitter or Discord or whatever it is.
I love that. Oh, dude, I was looking at these last week thinking about buying one. I didn't go around to it, and they're back. Yeah, they're back at 1 ETH already.
ETH now?
Yeah, they were 0.83 last week when I was looking. I was like, maybe I should buy one, but they're up. So I love seeing that. I suppose like then where does the art idea come from? Will it be sort of the same sort of art as on-chain heroes? Will it be completely different? Is it going to be anime? Is it going to be pixelated? Give us a little bit of insight about what we could expect.
Yeah, absolutely. So it is going to be a pixel art PFP. I just as a lifelong gamer, I just have a soft spot for pixels.
Yeah.
And it's going to be a PFP. So it's going to be like shoulder or chest up. And we have some characters inside the on-chain heroes lore which are these hooded figures, right? And the unknown trainer is also one of them. And I think the ring bearer PFPs might look something like that.
Epic. They're cool. I like it. Yeah, unknown hero. I mean, trainer. Him and I have been working out a few deals over the past week or so. So he's been good to me. So
he's looked after Greeny. Actually,
he's looked after me quite a lot.
So. Greeny, he's taken a real shine too.
Let's go.
So I love that. No, that's cool. That's cool. All right, Craig, you hit questions.
Yeah, look, I wanted to ask, and this is a question more for me because I play the game a lot, Skarly. And there's probably a lot you can't say here, but just tell me what you can, or give us a bit of a tease. I did notice in the game there's things like head, legs, and trinkets that it looks like we'll be able to add. There's slots we can add items to. I'm guessing coming up at some stage. Are these things we might see in season 2, or are these things that will appear later season 3 onwards?
You'll see them in season 2. So epic. a big part of like any RPG, right? So a big part of any RPG is crafting and getting better equipment, getting better gear, right? And I think that really translates well into our game. But we're gonna take out the grinding aspects of it. Most of us probably don't have time to be grinding 8 hours a day.
Yeah.
So we're gonna stay true to the idle nature of our gameplay. Yeah. But we're borrowing aspects of crafting from other titles like Monster Hunter, where you're taking on these bosses, you're getting crafting parts, and then there's gonna be like some sort of crafting game loop where maybe it's RNG based, maybe it isn't, but you're gonna need to run bosses a few different times to get all the crafting equipment you need, and then only then you will be able to craft this piece of equipment which can be upgraded and equip it to your hero, and that'll give you various in-game bonuses.
Will they be tradable on secondary markets?
Absolutely. I think all crafting materials, all crafted equipment will be tradable NFTs. I think that's the fun of on-chain heroes. Yeah. So this opens up different pathways for players to play. So maybe if you're maybe you're farming like a specific rare crafting equipment and you're selling it on the secondary market. I think that's a viable way of playing the game. And I think everyone has a different win condition, and it's their job to figure out find these arbitrage opportunities, find these gaps in the market, and fill them and profit off of them.
That's exactly what I like about this game. Is the exact answer you gave then, and that's more or less the answer I was hoping for. And this is what Greeny and I speak about all the time. I said this at the start of the stream, was trying to figure out how to optimize the way to play it. But the really cool thing about it, I find, is there's a few ways to do it. So, for example, some people might be leveling up their hero, some people might be farming the hero coin to then convert that into gachas, to then re-roll for remix into weapons, etc., or sell that on the open market, the hero token, and then just buy the weapon on secondary. So there's like so many ways to I don't want to use the word extract, but create money from somewhere and to put somewhere else. Really, really cool. I'm enjoying it. It's got me scratching my head so many times, which is probably a good thing because it's quite hard to. You can game it, but I can't see very many obvious hacks where you can exploit things or excel quicker than I think. So the cadence is good, and I just wanted to ask. Someone asked a good question. Well, I don't know what it is. Or this is TJ asked, what is the gem slot in the gear invent? If you can say what that, I don't even know if it exists, so hopefully they're not talking rubbish, but if you can say anything they were asking about that specifically, actually.
It's a slot where you can socket gems. That's a simple answer, right? Okay. What do those do? I don't know. You'll need a way to find out.
Beautiful.
Surely simply that would be just like if you discover it when you're battling a boss or something, you get a rare gem, whatever, and then that adds. Yeah. I already know. It's it.
There we go. And you already understand like how I think when I do these things.
Find the gems.
Well, I think like Craig was kind of alluding to, like it's game theory within 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 chance, right? Because you've also got that risk there of real money or money-based assets, right? NFTs, hero token, weapons, gachas as well. But then you've got the chance, right? Where obviously you had, if you did it early, which I picked up straight away, I was like, I told my whole group, I said, guys, go to town on this on day 1, day 2, because the odds then aren't as favorable. And that's the element I think that a lot of people don't understand too. It's game theory in a range of different ways, as Craig was saying. I mean, like literally before you even jumped on, I was like, oh, what should I do? Should I go for a legendary weapon? Should I flip one of my heroic weapons and then plow it back in from base model again, like from low levels, and then go up the leaderboard? Like there's so many game theories there, but then you got the chance element where if I go remix from 0, right, spend my 1,000 hero, I remix a token, a weapon, 95% chance it's going to be just a low level weapon. Okay. And then, okay, well, maybe if I go and do the other way and maybe I just go remix, maybe I buy 2 epics off the floor. That's better value. Remix that. If I hit it at whatever the rate is now, I think it's 60% from memory. Maybe that's a better strategy. So I love that. Like that's probably what I love about it, is that, as Craig said, you can't really work out the alpha just yet, perhaps. Just yet. I'll say yet. We might get there.
100%, and that's what I think is the beautiful part of on-chain heroes. And this is like the game that I wish existed. So and it didn't at the time. So that's kind of what drew me to build something like this.
I have 4 heroic weapons currently. Shout out to Fugly, who's in the chat. Him and I have been chatting for a while about strategies. I don't know what to do. I'm so unsure. I'm so unsure if I should like remix for a legendary or not. I don't know. I'll work it out this week, I reckon. But I wanted to ask then, like, I know you probably can't really give away too many strategies, but for someone maybe on the lower end who maybe doesn't have a pocket maybe the size of mine or some of the whales or Fugly, who I'm referring to as well, what is the best sort of easy way to get into the ecosystem? Because obviously heroes have come down, so potentially that could be a better opportunity. But is it to try and flip weapons? Is it to remix to go up the leaderboard and then hopefully that sorts you out later in time? Or is it to just buy the hero and try and train it from sort of level 1?
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a couple of different ways you can play depending on your capital. And you know, I've noticed, and I'm going to put out a thread on this very soon. I've noticed some players, they will be training these heroes. They will train them up to like level 20 and then flip them for like double or triple what the floor is at the moment. And like I saw Cubs fan, who was our, you know, I think our top holder right now. He was buying these high level heroes because he had all these weapons, right? And he didn't have the heroes that you know could maximize the efficiency of these weapons. So you know he was hunting for high level heroes. And you know these smaller players, this is how they were playing the game. And you know I've seen people double, triple their bag just by playing the game like this, right? They would get lucky on the remix. You know, maybe you know it's also a based on their risk tolerance, right?
Correct.
So their risk tolerance led them to remix like you know rares or whatever, and you know flip weapons, and flip heroes, and you know there's just so many ways that you can play it, and really there is no one best way. It really depends on your style. You know, I saw people in the chat just trade. Like, well, this guy, you know, barely plays the game. All he does is like find arbitrage opportunities, finds weapons for cheap, and then you know sells them for higher. Like that's his way of playing, right? So there's no real one way. And I think like just to like I'll just touch on this because I know I'm getting slightly off track, but you know I'm super aware that the barrier of entry is high. Like you know $500 to play a game is insane, right?
Yeah.
So we are like exploring different avenues.
Okay, cool.
To expand this, right? But right, there's 2 conditions that must be met before I make any moves. Number 1, it must expand the circle, right? If it doesn't expand the circle, then there's no point doing it, right? Number 2, it must drive value to our existing holders. So like people like yourselves, if I do something, if I dilute and you guys feel rugged, you guys will probably leave and never come back. And I'm super aware of this, right? So if these two conditions aren't met, then we're not going to do anything. But I think we have some drafts which I think are very interesting in the way that they drive value back to the ecosystem. Likely this is going to be like after season 2. So we're still a while away. It's still very early thoughts, but I have some ideas which I think could work.
Yeah, that's cool. No, I'm grateful to hear that, because as you I know I'm aware of it, and I want to talk about the analytics too. Like, if you do look at the holder ownership of the collection, right, it is dominated by whales. Like, let's be frank. Like, there's a lot of on-chain heroes who are held by like a minority of wallets, which is great, right? Like, kudos to them. They got in early. They knew what they were doing. And then people like us who are coming in a little bit later, okay, well, yeah, you just have to pay the premium to get in. I think, like you just said, I think opening it to other people who are dabbling on abstract, maybe only have $100, for example, that's the key. But again, you don't want to piss off, I suppose, us maybe who are coming in as that mid-tier whale coming in later to season 2, but also the premium OGs, right, who have been part of your ecosystem, who give you feedback in a range of different ways, who are promoting it in a range of different ways as well. So that's really cool to hear. I've got a few other questions too as well. I mean, do we expect any more updates before phase 2 of season 2, or is phase 2 basically like once the boss is ready to go, that's pretty much the thing that we need to look forward to?
There's some things, right? So that the game, we're going to introduce a few different in-game events before season 2. So those, look out for those, right? And one thing that I'm kind of looking at right now is like, right, so the way that I planned the game was, okay, if you have a low level hero and like not a great weapon, then you would remix your way up, right? But right now, I don't know what's going on, but the token just keeps going up. So it's it's getting kind of expensive to do this, right? So I'm trying to figure out, okay, if is there something else that we can do for like these low level, heroes with common weapons, right? Is there something else that can do that won't cannibalize the existing game loop? Or maybe it cannibalizes the lower end of it, but not the upper end of it, right? So I think that this is something that we're like kind of exploring at the moment. I don't know when it will happen, but we're thinking about it, right? And all the while the Dragma, the work is still being done in the background. So we'll see. Like, it's not that I don't want to give you an answer. It's that I don't know yet.
I got to dabble. I got to put a finger in the pie and hopefully pull something out. So no, that's fine. I want to ask too, like the mathematics. How much time and effort did you put into just simply all the mathematics of the percentages, the hero token, the liquidity, the buybacks, the sells, the burning, all of it? Like, how much time was that you directly? Was it a team that you've got? Like, talk to us about like the behind the scenes on-chain hero side, because I don't think a lot of people understand how much time and thought and probably like I know I've seen a few graphics, but like the amount of like detail you would have to go into for every single sort of element to consider what Greeny's going to do over here in Australia to what Finn's going to do over in America, right? Like talk to me a little bit about that.
Dude, it's insane. It's just me locked in my room,
That's insane.
Hunched over my laptop, fiddling around with these like spreadsheets, trying to make sure that these things work out. And what can I do, right? I can estimate what happens, but we can never perfectly model out what happens, especially when there's so many variables in the game, right? But we did our best. That it's very time consuming. It's probably the hardest part of this job. But I think we did an okay job for season 2. We're still twiddling around with the numbers, but the TLDR is that it's mostly me just hunched over a massive spreadsheet with all of these formulas. But that being said, we do have some trusted, friends / advisory people that are helping us out, getting a sanity check on this kind of stuff, make sure that I'm not missing anything. But the majority of the grunt work is done by me.
Yeah, no, cool. I thought that was the case. I know you're obviously a dev, but the math, that's I mean, wow, man, like that's sick. I love it. All right, Craig, handball over you, mate.
One of the questions I have, which I thought might be useful for any of the viewers and maybe useful for you to get to say out loud, is there anything that you find with the game that there's a big information gap or the wrong preconceived notion, or what do you notice that people are doing wrong that perhaps we could do better, or there's something on the timeline that you notice is misinformation about the game or anything like that?
Yeah, I mean, I think that when we think about what people are saying about the game, I'm so blessed and grateful that we're in a space where people kind of don't have too many negative things or negative outlooks on the game at the moment. But if I were to pick one thing, it would be that if you're a smaller player, you can't profit, right? And I think that that's just so false, just because I've seen like these one hero players, right? And they're printing, they're finding gaps in the market, they're being smart, they're trading, they're making moves, they're winning. So it really is a skill issue, I think. So I'd encourage anyone to see if they've if that's what's holding you back. I would encourage them to take another look into the ecosystem and figure out how you can win within our little gaming ecosystem.
No, that's great answer, Greeny. You go. That's
sorry,
awesome.
Sorry to interrupt. Like literally, I don't know if you're reading my chat, but like there's about 2 guys in there that literally said the exact same thing. They're like what is it? On chat, OCH is guaranteed financial loss for hero holders. I literally replied, I couldn't disagree more, mate. And then the one above was like, not as negative. He was like, I would love to play, but a hero is quite expensive. And also people have so many and would still have been overpowered. And as Skarly just said, guys, like I literally gave you some examples there. So flip weapons, look at gachas, look at the token, literally swing trade the token from 30 million. It was 30 million last week. It went to 45 or 50 million a couple of days ago. Like that's a 50+% swing trade. Take the profit, plow that back into the game, into a hero. Like I agree, Skarly. I think it in a way, it is a skill issue. Or jump on our streams, talk to us about questions. Like, and look at that. I just give you some advice or some strategies that I know would work for smaller wallet players.
Dude, and I looked at his wallet, and he holds our tokens. This guy's fighting for entry.
Yeah, fund him lower, man. Maybe I'll pick up a legendary.
Let's go.
Hey, I think Skarly on the plus side as well for the people playing the game. I think XP was pretty favourable.
Yeah,
I can't say it definitely was because we don't know that, but mine doubled. So yeah, thanks on Trade Heroes.
Dude, I mean,
that's massive.
We gotta hand it to the abstract team as well. They've been really helpful and figuring this out. Obviously we have a ton of moving parts, so it's not as easy as like indexing how many NFTs you hold. We need to think about burns. We need to think about gameplay. So they've really worked out a custom solution for us such that it captures everything. So I'm super glad to hear that you're happy with your XP distribution this week, because it means that our new algorithm is working.
No, it was amazing. I think Greeny probably found the same as that as well to a certain degree. I know he sold a few assets, but certainly I think it probably gave him a good earn.
Yeah, like I mean, Finn. We literally had Finn on last week or the week before, Craig, and that was the issue we were talking about. It was like, okay, like in your case, in Skarly's case, it was like far more complex than another game or ecosystem or DApp on the platform that can just simply leaderboard it, right? For you, it's like, well, how much do we weight the NFT holders, the whales over there? How much do we weight the weapons? And then, as you just said, how do you weight the people who are actually training their hero, or the people that are burning the token to upskill their weapon, blah, 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 right? Or going up the leaderboard, right? Like, yeah, I love that. And as Craig said, yeah, very happy. I mean, like, as he did say, I did take some money off the chain just for other things this week. So I'm very curious to see how it continues, because I think I'll be spending predominantly my time in on-chain heroes to keep understanding that ecosystem, because it's just exciting. I as you said, like, I love the game theory. I'm an incredibly mathematical minded person. That's probably why I love trading. It makes a lot of sense to me. So I love exploring that side of on-chain heroes.
Let's go. I'm super glad to hear that. You're probably our target audience if you enjoy this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Perfect. I want to ask too. Okay, so there's a couple of things here. Season 2 prizes. Now, I know chat and myself have seen a few conversations in the Discord, maybe some Twitter posts as well. Can we expect some prizes soon? I know content also was not leaked, that's the wrong word, but promoted by yourself, USDC, Ethereum, and Hero. What can you give us a little bit of insight about maybe when that timeline hits and what we can maybe go about, or chat, what chat can go about maybe getting exposure in that way?
Yeah. Sorry, I missed the first part of your question. Is this the prizes for the content stuff, or?
So so the prizes for maybe in game, and then the
Yes.
content was part 2. Yeah,
100%. So the TLDR is that the prizes for the game, we're still figuring out what this looks like, but it'll be a healthy chunk of our token to set you up for success for season 3, or maybe you want to stump it or whatever. Do whatever you want with it. Content is also something that it's just, I just haven't had the time to like formalize it, but we have like $2,500 set aside for content creation. We want to give that out. We have we bought some heroes off the market to give out. And we want to reward our content creators somehow. So this is like a experiment to see how this goes. We'll likely put out a more official document soon detailing this. But yeah, that's the TLDR, and if hopefully, right, if I do my job right, anyone that participates in the ecosystem will be blessed, and they'll walk away with a bigger bag than they entered with.
That's the ultimate goal, isn't it? Yeah.
Did I see you, Skarly? Did I see you on the timeline scooping up a few heroes that were having trouble leveling up?
Dude, I have bits open, bro. Send them my way.
I've got one that's the same, man. That guy sucks. He keeps getting knocked out. Dude, I'm going to put him on the market. God, geez.
Floor that guy.
I'm going to floor that dude, man. I'm over him. I need a new hero.
He doesn't. He's cursed.
It's so funny because I did see, I don't know if you saw, Greeny. Did you see
that
hero?
I did. I saw Skarly's face, yeah.
Such a good tweet, dude. That one fucking cracked me up. Man, that's funny.
Chat's asking me about the Cougarverse collab. What can you give us insight into that?
Yeah. I think I need to head off soon. So we'll probably do like two more questions. But the Cougarverse collab is right. Cougarverse. So they have like this really, really interesting 3D fully 3D spec'd out game on Steam called Cougar Bash, and they reached out to me and they were like, we love like the art style and the direction that you guys are going. I think it'll be super cool if you could battle Dragma and on-chain heroes, but battle it in our game as well through a different game style. I saw the trailer; it's so cool. But you're gonna be able to. It's a trad game, right? So it'll be like a controller based. You'll be able to fight underlings. You'll be able to fight Dragma soon on their platform, and that's something that I'm really excited to see play out.
That's so cool. The video is amazing, dude. The little clip is so sick.
It's great. I'm super stoked.
Yeah, sick. Craig, do you have? I've got one last question that I'll ask, which is our usual end question. But Craig, do you have anything else you want to wrap up with today?
Not really, man. Because every question I'd have from here would unfortunately be something Skarly's not going to want to answer. You know what I mean? So I don't want to put him in that. But nah, man, you fire away, Greeny. You go. But I just appreciate you jumping on, Skarly. Love the game.
100%.
Yeah. As Craig said, massive thank you for obviously spending the hour with us. The last question I always like to ask our people that we interview is, do you have questions for us? Because it's always a pound to the people who are getting interviewed. So I always like to throw it back and say, hey guys, like, do you want to ask us anything in particular?
Yeah, let me have a think. Like it becomes a little bit trickier for me. Well, a little bit more interesting for me because you guys are holders and you guys are playing, right?
Yeah.
I guess the question that I'd ask is, you joined On-Chain Heroes through, seeing a post online about some people making money or whatever. What kept you in the ecosystem? Was it like your first level up experience? Was it your first, remixing experience? Because I saw that clip of you guys remixing and I thought it was so cool. I shared it internally with our team.
So good.
I said, like, it's so cool seeing like people enjoy our hard work. But yeah, I guess like what kept you in On-Chain Heroes and what's like your favorite part about it?
I'll let Craig go first.
Thanks, Greenie. Probably for me personally, it's trying to outthink you. If that's the way to explain it. Outthink you or outthink the other players is probably the thing. But it's sort of you versus the dev and the other players, if that makes sort of sense. I've always enjoyed that sort of thing. I'm competitive in everything I do. So if you introduce money, wowee, man, I won't sleep. That would be my, and that got me there. And then what kept me is that I wasn't let down by my expectation of that. Not saying I got ahead greatly, not yet, not yet.
Yeah, we need to talk about
that. but I feel like I'm getting traction, and I like the layers of detail I see within it are, from a mathematical person, quite exquisite. So for me, I'm like Greenie, I'm very mathematically inclined. It's almost artistic for me. So I like the detail you put in, and any dev that puts in that amount of detail,
exactly,
I feel like I've got to back you.
Yeah.
I feel like, Greenie and I in the space also as creators, if I don't back you guys at some point, like, when am I going to back a dev, right? So if I see, what I'm saying is I see you putting in the work. So what kept me was the chance to make money and outthink people. And then once I came in, and also, to be honest, the pixel art.
I was going to say the visuals. Craig's stealing all my answers. Classic.
It's unfortunately right up my alley. The color tones, the palette, everything, dude. I'm a Metro, a Nintendo's kid from the 80s. So all that stuff hits so hard for me, 16-bit especially. So yeah, that's the art as well. And just the gacha balls flying out. You know how yeah, dude, that was so good.
I love that. Thank you so much for the kind words.
Just a little chef's kiss, really, for me, the graphical part. But it's the math. It's the math that brought me there and kept me there, and then the graphics just were a nice chef's kiss. Because if the graphics were poor, it may not remove me from it, but then it starts to wonder if there's cracks somewhere else. Whereas graphically, if you're clean, then I don't know. Yeah, that would be my best answers, though, I think.
Yeah, I'd have to agree with that. Like, honestly, like, you touched on all the points. I was like, the visuals kept me there, right? The game theory, as I discussed earlier, like, as Craig mentioned, I'm without a doubt probably one of the most competitive people I probably know. It's probably to my demise a lot of the time. I come across as arrogant when it's actually just confidence or competitiveness, So I think, it's PvP. Not that I feel like I'm versing Craig per se, but PvP the game, but PvP the mechanics to maybe try and outwork it, as you said, to maybe make money. Because ultimately, I'm a trader. I want to make money from this. So literally the conversation today was like, well, should I like keep my heroes and just train them until they get to the certain point where I break even in the hero token, sell that, and then I'm basically break even, or should I try and flip some of the NFTs? So I love the strategy, I love the game mechanics and all that sort of stuff. And I love that you guys spent time building, as I said earlier, like you took those extra weeks to make sure execution came out exactly how you wanted it. And I think that's just wonderful. So nothing but praise, to be honest. From
the last thing, Greenie, just before we quickly let Skarly go, for me, the other thing that kept me is the emotions, anger, rage, or euphoria.
Yeah.
Let's go.
Any game that makes me go, let's fucking go, which I have done live on your game. And then the other one, like last night when I remixed a ran, I lost it. I wanted to smash my screen. That is, that's also for me a good moment in gaming, because anything that makes you feel something is
real.
good. And even if it kind of hurt, I got annoyed. I remixed it. It's my fault. And then it made me go, okay, back to the drawing board. And now I've got to go back and theorize how I can get myself out of that little loss I got, if I even can.
Yeah.
It's those moments as well. And I guess it's sharing those moments on the timeline, even if it's a bad thing. I don't mind going on and posting, fuck, I just lost 3 levels of my hero. Fuck.
Yeah.
And it just cost me 1,500 hero. And then all the people commenting, same story. Yep. Feel your pain. It's great banter as well. So that's where games are great for crypto. It's something to talk about and feel together.
And I think, streaming and the game on this platform, as the last point, consumer based is exactly why your game succeeds on this chain. It's because the consumers are there and it makes it easy for us to literally stream it, for people to clip it, and then it goes viral on Twitter. No wonder more people are interested in joining the game.
Yeah.
Let's go. Thank you so much. I'm very grateful to have you guys as players and holders.
So I'll DM you my my heroes' numbers. If you could just buff them a little bit.
I wish I could.
No, I'll grind my way up there like every other dirty dog.
Yeah, easy.
Right.
No, well, Skarly, thank you so much for your time, mate. I know you got a busy schedule, so we very much appreciate you coming on the show, and hopefully we can get you back maybe once some more sort of information and bosses come out and blah 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 in the future weeks and months.
Let's do it. I'll be there.
Easy, mate. No, well, thank you so much. All the best.
All right, awesome. I'll chat with you guys later. Thanks for having me on.
Easy,
Thanks,
mate.
brother.
See you later.
See ya. Bye.
All right, Craig. Well, that was a huge show. Obviously, chat, if you weren't here this morning, we interviewed PO as well. So 2, again, opposite spectrums. We had probably one of the biggest and best devs I've probably nearly spoken to in terms of detail, in terms of just cranking numbers. Yeah, insane, dude. Insane.
We're not worthy.
I feel so dumb just listening and talking to Skarly just then. So massive shout out to him for jumping on. I know he's a very busy man, so that's great. And then big shout out to PO who joined us this morning from more of a Bitcoin investment. Like think about money in a different way. Like it's such a good conversation. So chat, if you missed either of those, or if you're tuning in now, then guys, go to our Twitter. Go to our YouTube. Actually, I think the replays are on Twitter as well, but go to YouTube. They're definitely under the live tab for our YouTube channels under Craig's Coin Purse and Greeny Trades. You can go watch the replays there at any time. But yeah, guys, come and tune in to all of our streams. We stream 9 a.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time every day, 7 p.m. Obviously Eastern Standard Time over in America. Same time tomorrow with Eli, so they'll be banging chat, talk about XP, talk about memes, all this sort of stuff. Abstract drama, that he's a drama queen. I'm not gonna lie. The other DMs I get is so much drama. I'm like, bro, I don't have time for this shit.
It must be what it's like to have a 16-year-old daughter or something, man. That's
dude,
I'm like, it's going to be all right, babe.
I'm like, oh, bro, I'm trying to run a business, I'm trying to do content, I'm trying to do I've got all these other things I'm doing behind the scenes. So I'm like, whatever, bro. Like, maybe you need to get out of the drama. Potentially.
We can unpack Eli's dramas tomorrow live on stream. What are we? 7 p.m. Tomorrow, aren't we? So that'll be a banger. Eli always brings good energy, and he's always got some pretty good abstract alpha. So definitely listen if he talks.
Yeah. So very keen to have him back on tomorrow for our weekly show. And then we've got Alyssa as well. So a big content creator, obviously on Twitter, but obviously on Abstract as well. So we'll be talking to her on Friday as well. So do tune in, guys. We've got a few banging episodes in the next couple of days. Big shout out to everyone in the chat. Rero, Merlo. I know Merlo wants to jump on the show and talk tax, actually. So that could be a banging topic as well. So maybe we'll try and get him soon. Mm-hmm. Shout out to Fugly. Shout out to, obviously, Jared Watts, mate. That's an Aussie. So another Aussie in the crowd. Love to see it. Heaps of people in it. Yeah, so I love seeing it.
Good crowd, actually. Even on X, bro. Decent crowd tonight.
Yeah, we got 6:30 in the house. So that's good to see. America's only just waking up, so that makes a lot of sense that they're kind of still asleep. So, Craig, mate, we've 3 hours of streaming today. We need to go to sleep. We need to go hang out.
Good night, everyone. I need my beauty sleep. I'm done. I look like a panda.
Yeah, and we're back in literally 12 hours time. So chat, if we're not working hard, hey guys, I think thank you.
We're working for your bags, chat.
Thank you for the tips, but we are working for our bags and working for your bags. So please tip us a little bit more. That would be much appreciated in future streams. We very much appreciate it. But
one Bitcoin.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, Bitcoin only, please. No, I'm just kidding. But no, Craig, have a lovely, what are we, Wednesday night? So have a lovely Wednesday night. And we'll be back tomorrow bright and early again.
Cheers, everyone.
Cheers, mate. Cheers.